take a look at another clip then. So I guess the caption is racism explained in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. Agree, disagree?
Disagree.
Why?
Because, yes, there was a little white girl and people were going to her to help her, predominantly white people. But if you watch the video, when the little black girl was by herself, plenty of black people passed her by. It wasn't just the white people that ignored her. So if this was a social experiment done with just white people, then I would say, okay, there is something there. But both little girls were placed in a mixed cultural society, and all cultures ignored the little black girl. Because that's the essence of the video, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I didn't pay too close of attention to the audience. Are you sure there were black people that walked by?
Let's
okay. No. It's fine.
There were black people that walked by and paid no attention to the little girl.
Okay, fine. So you're saying because both black and white people walked past the little girl.
If we're saying race, we're saying white people ignored a helpless little child.
Because she was black?
Yeah. If we're crying racism, that's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
But then we have to be, if we're going to claim that, then we have to be fair if black people walked by and also ignored that little child. Because then it's not a question of a black child being ignored by white people. It's a question of a black child being ignored by society. So is it a question now of not racism, but how society views black children?
Which is race.
But society isn't just white people.
I think for me, it was racism explained.
What do you have to say about her point, firstly?
I think I'll address it in what I'm trying to say.
Address it first, because I think then the conversation will flow better that way.
Okay. Okay. For me, you would have to take a look at those that responded.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess if I'm addressing a point, just because black people also ignored the black girl, for me that doesn't hold. That's not that of not importance, but it's not enough to say that no. Therefore, everybody was not racist. It was just a society is what's wrong, right? Because this is why I wanted to explain my point first. Because I think in my point, I would have addressed why I disagree with the fact that it's a society thing. But you forced me.
You should be able to just respond to her point. Because she said something, you disagree with it. You should be able to just say why you disagree with it.
This is why I'm saying why I'm disagreeing with it.
Okay, fine. Carry on then.
You see?
Carry on.
The reason why I'm disagreeing with that is because with the white girl, white people came and tended to her. With the black girl, white people didn't come and tend to her. So let's say there's something wrong with black people. Let's say black people don't know how to look after their own. Fine. They're trash. Let's chuck them in the bin.
So why are we expecting other people to look after us if we can't look after our own?
That's irrelevant, in my opinion, to the discussion.
Why?
Yeah? Because the discussion is for race, right? So
but that is a race question. Why are we expecting white people to do for black people what black people don't do for black people?
Yeah. Just because, okay, let me put it this way. Yeah. Just because you are a terrible person, it doesn't mean that I'm allowed to be a terrible person because you're a terrible person.
But I can crucify you for being a terrible person.
Hang on.
So for progress, Nick, make your point. Make your point. Finish your point, and then let's.
Yes, I am still responsible for my behavior. I'm still responsible for my actions. I am still responsible for who I am. I can't say that, oh, because my brother is a terrible person, I can also be a terrible person. That you don't justify things
Okay,
like that.
fine.
So going back to the point, you can't say because black people ignored this black girl, it's therefore okay that white people also ignored the black girl.
I'm not saying it's okay.
I don't
that
think
she
that's
was
fair.
ignored by anyone.
Yeah.
No, Fatsani,
I don't think the discussion would go down that route. Yeah. What I would focus on is black people should have, let's say, tended to both the black girl and the white girl. I would add. Yeah. But they didn't. White people should have both attended to the black girl and the white girl. But they only attended to the white girl and not the black girl. There's a discussion there. Why is that?
Okay, so explain the discussion.
No, that's the discussion.
Okay.
The why is that? Is the
Okay,
discussion.
so let me. So I'll answer that. But before I answer that, then from what you're saying, then it would mean that both black and white people are racist.
Yes.
Because based pure from what you're saying,
Yes.
black people didn't attend to the white girl, white people didn't attend to the black girl.
Yes.
So it's not a matter of white people are racist in this discussion. Based on this experiment alone, it would mean both black and white people are racist.
Could I add a layer to that? It would mean black people are even more racist because they didn't attend to either race.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to come on to that point, but why are you saying no?
I'm saying no because white people did attend to the white person.
Yeah, then let me explain. Because, no, you remember it's crisscrossed. Yeah? Black people are racist towards white people, based purely on this experiment. Black people are racist towards white people because no black person attended the white girl. White people are racist towards the black girl because no white people attended towards the black girl. Yeah? So you're saying, yes, that's a fair summary based on what you're saying. But then I think what Fatsani is adding to say that but the only difference is that white people have the compassion to recognize their own and address it, whereas black people do not.
And that's exactly why this is a racist issue.
But
I'm okay with them recognizing their own.
Pronik, let me finish my point.
Go on.
Because the thing is, when you say racist, you're thinking white towards black. And that's what I'm saying. If that's the case, I would disagree based purely on this experiment. Because it's not just purely white versus black. So when you say racist, if you mean, yes, both black and white people in this case were racist, fine. I'm okay with that. But if you saying racist, you're saying, no. Yeah, as we can see in this experiment, the white people were racist towards the black little girl. I'll say, no, I think that's looking at half the picture and that's being wildly unfair.
Okay. So here's the thing. I think the both of yous on this offbeat POV, I feel like you have a very difficult time realizing very subtle racism situations, right? You want to discuss the grand racism bits and bobs, yeah? In my opinion, it's very simple, right? A compassionate person will tend to either. That's what compassionate is. The simple fact that you're saying that recognize their own, you've already put racial division there.
I was addressing your point. That's no point I was making.
I didn't make a point. Remember, you stopped me. You said, let me address hers.
No. I mean, the reason is I can explain why I said that, but carry on. Because I want... Yeah, because I didn't explain my stance on the matter.
Fair enough.
Imagine, I was analysing what you were saying.
I didn't say anything. Stop saying what I said.
Yes,
I didn't give you my point. You stopped me from saying
No, yes, you did, because you analysed that the white people didn't address the black girl, but they addressed the white girl. That was your analysis, yeah? And in you saying that, you were saying just because the blacks didn't address either one, it doesn't mean it's okay for the whites not to address either one.
Exactly.
That's the point you're making.
Now, exactly.
So you made it because I heard it.
Now, let me give you this analogy as well, right? Because you gotta remember, if we are in a white, what's the word, predominant area, yeah, and you stick a black person like that, the racial experience you are carrying is to see how whites are going to react to the black.
What?
Right.
If you're in a white area and you stick a black person, okay, fine. Yeah, Karen,
you are see the experiment you are running is to see how the white people are going to react to the black person. Right? Now, if you take a white person and go to an African place somewhere where there's a black people, predominantly black people, and then stick a white baby there, you are running the vice versa experiment. Yeah. Now there could be white people in that street here and there, but what you're looking at is the behavior of the black people towards this white baby. In my opinion, that's what happened here. That's why for me it's a race thing. Now again, there are a lot of things I can agree with you on. I don't know the percentages of how many black people versus white people walked past. Yeah. But if it was a white area, a white country, for example, yeah, a Western world, right? In my opinion, that's the experiment. And I guess that's why they even done that in that area in the first place, to see what these people would do if there's just a black little girl standing there versus if there's just a white little girl standing there. Does that make sense? So that's why for me, it is a discussion of race. The simple fact, and I can attest for this as well, the simple fact that if I walk into a room, for example, and I'm scanning the room, and there are cloak with a black person, and I walk towards the black person, yeah, I could also challenge that mentality. It's about how we perceive the world. That's what racism is. Yeah. Sometimes we want people to shout out racial slurs, to do
What's
racial
racism?
stuff.
When you say that's what racism, what is it?
That's what discrimination can be. That's what discrimination can be. Does that make sense?
This goes back to a
confused with
discussion
your
of racism
example.
versus discrimination. Remember, we had in this very studio, we had
We
that.
really did.
A horrible
We
story
really did.
where I was
That's
arguing
what.
that point. So let's stick with racism.
Yeah, that's what a racial. That's what could indicate a racial mentality. That's
So-
what could
So
indicate
in
a
your
racial
example,
bias.
the example
in me.
you gave about getting into a room and scanning for a black person, are you saying that's racism or racist bias?
I
Is that what you're
would
saying?
call that. Yes, I would.
Okay,
I would
fine.
question
Carry on.
that.
Carry
I
on.
would.
Hold
I
on.
would question myself on why is that.
So are you
fine.
calling
It doesn't
it
necessarily.
racism?
It doesn't necessarily. It may not. It may or it may not be. That's why there's a question there. So, in my opinion, with this video, yeah, I feel like it demonstrated enough to show that the white people that walked past there, yeah, did not see this girl, this black girl, or did they saw, but it may not have registered. Yeah, they walked past. In my opinion, that does show that there's a problem there. That does show that it's enough to conclude in that 30 seconds that when the black girl was there, people really didn't. It may not even be about caring. Maybe didn't think it's an issue. Maybe didn't think it's a problem. Maybe didn't register something is wrong. You know. But when the white girl was there, suddenly people are concerned. In my opinion, I think that's fair enough. In my opinion, I think that is a fair enough experiment that can help show the attitude of the society towards black little girls.
I guess the question I wanted to ask, which I want to see what you think about it. Do you think, instead of racism, do you think maybe it's just that the black girl didn't look helpless? Like when they saw this black girl, they didn't see a helpless person. They just
What
saw
did they see?
They just saw a girl waiting. So it's like when they looked at this girl, their first initial
Oi, oi,
thought
oi.
wasn't a helpless little girl. It was just a girl waiting. As opposed to, hang on. As opposed to when they saw the little girl, the little white girl, they saw a helpless white girl that needs help. And if that's the case, is that an issue or is it not an issue? Or is it a commendation to black little girls? They seem strong or confident or whatever.
I know there's been a lot of research into that line of thought where black, and I think we've had the conversation on the podcast before, where black females or just black children in general are viewed a lot older in society than they actually are. So they're expected to come across a lot older than they actually are. They're judged to merits of much older people than they actually are. So that could be an element. But like I said, there's been a lot of research into why that is. Is it because of the way that we're raised? Because we are raised to a level of maturity. Even in our own households, we are expected to be at a level of maturity more than our peers. So, for example, the little cousins that we have, you know, when we gather, we're expecting them to pitch in with washing the dishes. But, you know, in a different race setting, oh, no, they're the children, they can go play. So even in our own community, we want our young ones to be at a level a little bit higher than their age, or at least a little bit higher than what their counterparts are of a different race. And I don't know if that's because we want them to be... I don't know how to put it.
Competent.
Yes. So that could be a
in your
discussion.
opinion, is that an issue or is it not an issue? Is it just a commendable thing?
I think in different contexts, it's an issue. It's an issue, and it's not an issue. I think in the context of criminality and crimes and consequences, sometimes it's an issue because the leeway that certain races might get because, you know what, they're just a 10-year-old.
Right. Okay.
Whereas when it's maybe a black male or a black female, that aspect of they're just a 10-year-old isn't, well, you're expected to know better, that kind of thing. So I think in different contexts, it can be our positive, and in another context, it can be our drawback or our downfall.
Okay. All right. So in the example you gave about the punishment, the 10-year-old, let's say they're white and they're like, oh, they're just a 10-year-old, let them off. And then the black person, they may not be, they will be like, oh, because of ABC, we'll give them this. Do you think the black person we should be less strict on the black person or more severe on the white person? Which would be the better way to go for society?
I think more severe on the white person because we're trying to bring a raised society, aren't we?
All right, so you're saying that, again, we're going to simplify it in simple terms. So you're saying that black people, black children, they commit the crime, they get a just sentence. But when white people commit the same crime, when white children commit the same crime, their sentencing is lighter or less than. So the issue isn't let's stop being strict on the black people, it's let's be strict on the white people.
Let's make let's level the platform.
Yeah, no, we're leveling, but I'm asking, do we
level up? Let's level the platform. Let's level the platform up.
Okay. All right.
Because if we level it down, then we're dumbing down society.